it's still the wild west right now, you know, as you go into. And if something looks attractive to you and you don't know how it works and what it does, but but you get told that this is going to be the next big thing, you can easily, get pulled in and, put £1,000 in, £100 in, and you put it in, and by tomorrow or a week, your money could be gone because you don't exactly know what you're actually investing into or putting your money into, and how the blockchain and how the 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 functionality works with being on the exchange, or running a cryptocurrency, or a crypto itself. Bitcoin is not run by anybody. It's not owned by anybody. Nobody knows who the people are or the person that set it up. Whereby these other cryptocurrencies that are out there are actually, there's an owner, there's a CEO, there's somebody that can change the coding. They give you the rules of how we're going to work this cryptocurrency today, but then because there's no real regulation that's built around it, they can change those rules around it tomorrow. And if you haven't now kept up to speed with those rules, you can end up losing all of those cryptos, all of your money in an instant.
What AI is here, what we try to do in businesses and companies is give you back time, right? Allow the computer to do things that are repetitive tasks or things that people don't want to do, right? Can we make it easier, like an iPhone? And that's the aim, right? Not many people like Android. Most people like iPhones. You just want to click and do, click and do, click and do. And that's what Lionx was trying to do, right? Is 3 prompts. You need a prompt to write hashtags for you. Just give me this, and it does it for you.
Don't say that, Dawn, please, because you're going to get off the phone and Nick's going to be building another one of the talk. Please, because we think it, we build it, and it's big. And do you know why that's so good for us? Is because we've got the infrastructure to do it, and that's the beauty. We have the infrastructure, and that's why we want to help others, because we actually have the infrastructure to help others build and host. So yeah.
Okay, so how long has Agile Tech Solutions been going?
So we've been going roughly now just over 2 years, officially 1 year on paperwork, if you look at anything to do with how the company was set up and organised. But myself and Nicholas birthed this out about 2 years ago. And we're still going.
Okay, all right. So I'll come back to you in a moment, Bobby. So Nicholas, please introduce yourself and what it is that you do.
Hello. Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
So I'm Nick. Most people know me as Nick. You can call me Nicholas if you want. It's a bit longer, but I like Nick. I do a lot of stuff. I like IT, passionate about IT. So I've always been into IT. Been in IT for probably about 20 years. And one of my latest projects is co-founded with Bobby on the screen, which is Agile Tech, which is like Bobby had alluded to. We've been running for about 2 years now. And this specializes especially around tech, right? It's around helping people who look like us have opportunities, right? And I will add value to that. So, for instance, I noticed from my days of trying to get into the industries and building websites, it's always been hard for hosting. It's always been hard for costing. It's always hard to find developers. So we want to kind of fix that gap, that pain point. And this is where Agile Tech Solutions, the company, kind of started, whether that be consulting for individuals, helping them build websites or host websites. I have a massive passion for crypto. So that was also a part of the dream of implementing crypto and blockchain into the accessibility of the end users out there who want to get involved. So we have quite a diverse set of services that we offer. We will touch on them later, but some of them is web hosting. So we can do web hosting for people, kind of like fast host where you would want to host your website, WordPress, or any type of website or application. We do VPS hosting, which is for virtual private servers. Anyone who's in the tech industry who understands that that's having your VPS, which you can host your applications on, and then you can host that with us. And then multiple other applications. We do have a specialized applications, which we'll allude to later on, which are kind of underneath the umbrella of Agile Techs, and then also domain names and VPNs and cybersecurity, and then the list goes on. So the aim for me was I've been in the industry for 20 years. I worked for a lot of big companies, FTSE 100, FTSE 200, and we make them billions of pounds or millions of pounds as an individual. So how can I give back that skill set basically? And this is where the Agile Tech Solutions came into it. Let's use the skill set that I've developed from these corporations, and let's build our own and give back into our local communities and our urban community. So that's kind of what I do in a,
Okay.
in two
So
minutes.
tell me, when did you first start getting into tech? Was it when you were at school, or was it something that you just built up as a hobby from home?
So like, you can probably tell I've got glasses, right? So I'm a geek. So I've always been a part of this tech industry from I was 10. Right? I went to a
10.
special secondary school, which was called Bacon's College, which was one of the first charter schools to really bring technology into the UK when I was younger. And this is when we had Dreamweaver and Apple MacBooks. Remember the little square Apple MacBooks? We had
Yes.
a suite of computers where you had to do ICT and learn all of that kind of stuff. So that was my introduction. This was Windows 3.1, yeah, the DOS days, the old school days. This was the
Oh,
introduction
those.
for
Oh.
me. So that's my start right into the industry. And then from there, I just always the guy. I was always the guy, the go-to guy for anything tech or IT. I finished my secondary school, and then I went to America, where I went to a specialized technical school called Advanced Technology Academy. In America, it's slightly different. So you got high school, and then you got university. The high school, the last 2 years, your junior year, the senior year, is our college years here. So I finished secondary school here, and then I went into a special charter school, which was chartered by University for Tech for 4 years. And this is where I did the last 2 years there in my junior and second year, which was the extended version where I just did coding, C++, Visual Basic, and that gave me my base for the technology, the understanding of codes and being able to translate multiple language. So when I came back to the UK at 21, I had a very good base before even entering the industry of corporations. I didn't actually go straight into IT. I went into the airport where I did security. Where I was behavior detection and body language and airport security.
Oh,
Wasn't
so
my
you were looking
passion.
at people through the cameras.
Yeah, and body searches and reading people and all type of stuff, right? So that was where it was still security, but it wasn't the security of the dream that I wanted to do. So the passion for me wasn't there. So 5, 6 years later, I left, and then I started at the bottom of the scale in IT. I went to IT support, and this is where I started my craft. Now, because of my base, I was able to excel extremely quickly, right?
Yeah,
So
especially if you know coding.
exactly. So I had because of my foundation, I was able to tick boxes for my CV. Because what I found, I had the technical skill set, but I didn't have the experience that you need in this country. It's all about experience and certifications you need to kind of match. So I would go to these interviews. I wouldn't get in there because I had no experience, right? So it's my CV kind of looked fake. I was over skilled from the American technology understanding, we was already above or faster ahead than where we was in the UK at that period of time. So when I would go for an interview, it would look like I was copying and pasting people's CV, basically, right? Because it's just like, where's this guy with no experience? Now, when I went back into it afterwards, I was able to tick the boxes, right? Climb the ranks, and like literally every single year I jumped, like I doubled my salary literally every year. From first
Wow.
line to second line to third line to cybersecurity to pen testing to OSCP. I can go to a test and just past it now. I can learn something because of my base. I can pick up a language and just go and get the certification. I can watch a YouTube and understand everything about it very, very quickly. So my holistical perspective of picking up new technology made me very versatile, and very like uh, I would say um um I'm able to kind of understand like majority of all languages, at least 40 to 50% of it by default. The rest
Wow.
of it is things that I would have to pick up. Right. So that's how I built my 20-year range of experience from education and learning, from experience and from
Yeah.
applied. After the experience, I started to apply my education and my experience to build my own application.
So you're a tech genius then. This is why big companies come and find you.
I don't like to say I do like to say
Well,
I'm a
you
tech
know
genius,
you
but
are.
no, but I would say I'm pretty skilled for what I know. I would say that I do know a lot, and a lot of people have witnessed a lot of stuff around me. So it's not really me blowing my own trumpet. I do what I need to do. Um, but the industry is hard for people like us as well. So it's climbing up a very hard mountain sometimes, you know.
Well,
It's
I
not
think
what you
I.
know, it's who you know as well, right? So you can
Yeah,
know
yeah.
everything under the sun and you don't know the right people. So, you know, it's you need a lot of things. And this is what we're learning. This is what the journey has been as well, you know. Like for me, you've been asking me to do an interview for a while, right? And you know, I don't like to be in public. I don't really like public facing things.
Yes,
But this is
everybody. Nicholas has been hiding his light under a bushel. He hasn't been wanting anybody to know his talent because he feels the right people will find him. So, welcome to the world, Nicholas. You said, I heard you say the other day, you've got 6 screens. You work with 6 screens. I'm like,
no, it's more than that. It's actually more, but I'm not actually at my. This is why it's unfortunate. Maybe we will do a follow-up interview and you'll see that the full setup is quite impressive. It looks like swordfish or something like that.
oh,
But
wow.
yeah,
That's
we've
good.
got.
But one thing I remember, by the way, um, I met Nicholas because we were introduced a few years ago. Nicholas and Bobby, I met them together. And by the way, I'm going to ask you to where you two met because, you know, you're quite different in a way. But Nicholas, you said to me, oh, I'm an ethical hacker. So I'm there thinking, what is an ethical hacker? Please enlighten us.
Oh, ethical hacker. Okay, we're going there. Wow. I'm going to leave the story for Bobby to tell how we met because it's actually interesting how we actually met and how it comes around. So Bobby's probably better at stories like that for me. But ethical hacker. So I am, like I said, I did allude to it, OSCP, pen test and ethical hacker. So ethical hacker is a person who hacks ethically, if that's a thing. So how that really looks in practice is you would have the skill set or understanding of black hat, grey hat hacking. So there's different colors of hacking. You've got white hats, you've got black hats, and you've got grey hats. A black hat hacker is a person who wants to be malicious and intends to do harm, whether that's I feel to take someone's website down. So I might DDoS a site, right? DDoS is a denial of service attack, being that if you know a website can only deal with a certain amount of transactions in 10 seconds, yeah. So every 10 seconds, a website can only serve 50 people. Yeah. So every 10 seconds, if 50 people hit my site, it can deal with that. The moment I do 60, your website will now crash because it can only do 50. So 51, 52, 53, 54 can't get through, becomes unavailable, right? So what happens if I send 50 requests at a time every second? Yeah, you can do 50. So your limit is 50 every 10 seconds, but I'm going to send 50 in one request. So that's like 50 people every second trying to hit your site. What that then does is now puts your site completely offline and nobody can get to it. And as long as you're sending that heartbeat of 50 attacks or 50 requests every second, and if I want to do that for 24 hours, that means 24 hours, no one will be able to go to your site. right?
Mhm.
Now, this is now loss of earnings now because people need to go on book, people need to make money. So it is malicious, right? Because I'm denying people service to the site. Black hats are anyone who's trying to do malicious attacks, like I alluded to, DDoS attacks, multiple requests at a time, trying to make sure a person don't have access to the site, loss of earnings, right? A grey hat is a person who's in between that, right? So they have the capabilities of that, but they like to probably prevent that. So for you to have that capabilities to prevent, you need to be able to do. Or how do you know how to prevent, right? So, and then a white hat is just the person who's just a good guy, which is now classed as ethical hacker, right? For you to get to, so you can't really be a good white hat without being a grey hat, and you can't be grey without being a black hat,
Okay.
right? So I hope that sets everyone up to understand. This is why Catch Me If You Can, for instance, he got hired by the CIA because he was the master at counterfeiting checks and stuff. So he was the best person to hire because he was the number one, right? A lot of these things where if you hack an organization like the CIA or the NSA, they're gonna hire you because
Really?
who better to protect than the person who got in,
Oh.
right? So it is now for them to make sure because you're basically it's hackers have an ego, right? And it's always kind of a thing of, haha, I got in, haha, I got in. Your security is not that good, right? So now the white hats are saying, haha, you can't get in, haha, you can't get in. My skills are better than yours. So that's the competition that really happens between the hackers worlds is good versus bad. So the bads were once, I mean, the goods were once bad. Now they become good. Now you've got these young kids who are trying to take their title. So they're always constantly trying to get in, right? Then they get in, they get hired, they become grey, right? So it goes from black to white to grey. Yeah, yeah. I hope that makes sense. Very
Yeah,
complicated.
yeah. I remember meeting a young lady once who told me that she goes to the hackathon at the weekends. I'm like, you mean you have a whole weekend where people are hacking things? I was like, oh.
That's a little bit different. So this is the terminology play, right? So a hackathon doesn't mean you're hacking. It means you're collectively working together for a solution.
Oh.
So so a hackathon, you normally run a hackathon to say, let's find a solution for this problem. Let's all sit here for the next 4 hours and we're gonna get it right. Right?
Okay.
So that's normally a hackathon. Now,
Bobby, I wanted to find out how you got into tech. And then afterwards, if you could tell me how you and Nicholas actually met.
Oh wow, yeah. It's do you know what? I've not really like massively been into technology as a coder or anything like that. But what happened was when I got into the industry that I'm renowned for, which is jewelry. When I was an apprentice in the year 2000, they started introducing computers in our workplace in our factory, and the foreman was taught how to use the computer. But you know, I was a bit young then. I think I was 19 years oldish or something around that, and I always was watching what the foreman was doing. I was an apprentice at the time. So I would always stay after work and do extra work as an apprentice, and the foreman will be there working on the computer, or he'll have the tech people coming in showing him how to use the computer to send out work and stuff. And I had computers at home and whatever, you know, whether it would be a PlayStation, Nintendo, or whatever it was back then. Um, and I was a little bit nifty on an IBM. I started on like an IBM with a floppy disk and things like that, and Commodore
Yeah, remember
64,
the days?
where you put the tape in with a Commodore 64.
Oh my
So,
God.
what happened was when the foreman needed to go on holiday, they really didn't want him to go on holiday because he was the only one who knew how to use a computer. But incidentally, I was watching and learning, so I kind of half volunteered and said, "Look, I know how to use a computer because I've seen him do it." And out of all the people that were in the workshop, I was the youngest, and they kind of made me assistant foreman at the time, so he could go on his
Ooh.
2-3 weeks holiday. So I was always a user. I wasn't in the back end of technology or anything like that, you know. So I've always enjoyed that kind of stuff of looking at different applications and seeing if I can break something or whatever else, you know, from a user perspective. But I actually really got into technology in about 2016 when I started learning about blockchain technology. I had a good friend of mine who spoke to me about blockchain technology. It was a part of a it was a marketing. It was a part of the marketing arm of a blockchain technology that was going in 2015 and 16. And he kept on. I kept on seeing things pop up about it, and he spoke to me about it, and I went down a rabbit hole. And I started learning about blockchain technology and what cryptocurrencies could do and what blockchain was going to do for the world going forward. And once I got down that rabbit hole, I never actually really come out. I don't think I'm even out now. And it's just I've I've learned more about under the hood of what technology does rather than just being a user on the user interfaces and trying to break interfaces and stuff and whatever. And yeah, that's how I really got into technology. And then I project managed a project for a blockchain company, which was really good. And that taught me a lot about how you could potentially build a blockchain, how you could do airdrops, how you could do token swaps, how you create a token, and this is just all stuff around cryptocurrency. So I really got an interest. And then within lockdown, when we was in lockdown, um, um, I wanted to upskill myself a bit more. So I started building computers from scratch for various different people. First, I'd done my first one initially. I had a friend of mine speak to me over the phone through Zoom or Skype or whatever it was, and he ordered all the parts and got all the parts, and I learned how to build computers from scratch. So I was building multiple computers for people. So that's the side of tech that I like. And then I met Nicholas, and it got to a slightly different ball game with technology. So yeah, it's a strange way how me and Nicholas actually we met. We originally met at a gala, at a gala ball. It was at a award ceremony, and we were both there. Both had tables there, and we had a big entourage, and and we didn't know each other. We didn't speak to each other. There was a lot of network going on. There was a lot of people, but we didn't actually have that connection or speak to each other. But at the end of the gala, there was a few chairs and some places where you could sit down and take pictures, and there was camera people there, and my entourage that we was there with, were in some pictures. We was taking some nice pictures, and then little did I know, I saw Nicholas in a picture. This is after we got introduced to each other. In Gatecrash, two or three of my pictures, and it was quite strange. So a friend of mine introduced me to Nicholas, who I went to school with, and that's many moons ago that I went to school. So this person I went to primary school with, he said, look, I'm working with a guy who likes blockchain. He's really tech savvy. I think you two should meet because you have some synergies, etc. And I remember it was probably around October sometime or something, 2018, around something like that. We met up in Liverpool Street near his offices, and then we just went for a drink. And I don't even remember leaving that place because we were talking so much about so much to do with blockchain technology and all different things. And that's when, about a month later, after having a few more conversations with Nick, I was scrolling through my phone. I was like looking back at these pictures, and I said, Nick, you gatecrashed my pictures at this gala. And it was probably a thing that was meant to be, and we've kept in contact ever since. And I was helping Nicholas with we were building a crypto exchange, a UK crypto exchange, and that was going to serve all the UK customers. Nicholas and his team were building that exchange from scratch, and I was on the team that was helping facilitate drafting some of the white papers, some of the business plan, some of the tokenomics, and we had weekly, daily meetings. So I was involved in that with Nicholas from literally from after that meeting that we met up in Liverpool Street that day. And, from then until now, we've just continued not just as business people together, but as really good, strong friends. We've built a really good friendship more than anything in everything that we've done, which has really kept us together and given us the opportunity to build our company, Agile Tech Solutions, which we've worked day and night on.
Okay, well, let's look at the crypto space for a minute because it seems to me that with the knowledge that you guys have, you could have set up your own cryptocurrency. That's number one. And number two, perhaps you could let me know what happened to the crypto exchange that you were building. Are you still hoping to do it? Are you still working on it?
Well, so there's a good couple of good points there. First, I'll go to the first one about cryptocurrencies and building your own coin. If you've got a proper use case for a coin, you can potentially build your own coin. Yeah, if you have a community that's going to back it and you have a use for that token to use within the blockchain industry that you cannot use any other currency with. There's a lot of currencies that are out there already that you can utilize rather than actually creating your own token or your own coin. I sit on the fence a little bit whether or not companies or people should create their own tokens, because there's tokens that you can use, but it all depends on what the token is for and what it's going to be used for, and if you can create enough awareness for that token to stay within the market and within the trends, and to have a good market cap, and to keep on running. It takes a lot to run a
Hmm.
crypto coin itself.
Hmm.
The exchange, I don't know if Nick wants to talk about that or if he wants to leave that to me. I don't know. What do you want to do, Nick?
I'll touch on it. On Okay, like you guys said a few things. So on just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? For things, yeah. And for what, like Bobby said, crypto coins is meant to be a digital asset, right? Regulated properly, right? Previously, it was like a toy, a game thing. Yeah, you can use it and it's on the internet and you can use it on the internet for stuff, right? That was the term, right? But at sooner or later, we need to make it real, right? This is why you got all these court cases and stuff going on, because it's an asset. It needs tokenomics, it needs governance, it needs transparency, right? Now, if you don't have the time to have the longevity to manage that aspect for the life of ever, right? Probably shouldn't just start a coin if you're not going to be able to back it. For instance, if you are a person who wants to build a business and a website, yeah, and you go and you build a website and then you start having customers sign up to your website, your website needs to run forever, right? Because
Yeah.
you're going to have users, not for 1 year, not for 2 years. But the problem is you have people who build a website, they learning why they build it, and then it dies after a year, or they don't know how to maintain it. That's the exact same with blockchain, right? This is why we have 90 something percent of them are failed projects, unfortunately.
Really?
There's so many tokens out here. It's scary. Thousands. Bobby will go into that if you want, but there's loads of them, right? Because anyone can make a token. I can make 20 in the next 10 minutes if I want to. Put it whatever I want and then give it as much token supply and then go, you add it. What adds value to it is your community. So like Bobby said, unless you have a real use case, like NFTs and token, and you want to bring the perspective of non-fungible to something real, like I don't know, a country wants to do it to land registry, and you can track it, and it's a real life use case, or maybe connect with the tracking of the prescriptions because of you can have one prescription have and use it 100 times. You know that, right? But on a blockchain, you wouldn't be because you have a one-time use. It has a real life use case for that function, right? No problem, right? It's still going to have to go through regulation. It's still going to have to go through governance. It's still going to have to do all of the stuff that you would need to do anyway. But it's the use case and it makes sense. You're making your own currency. You're making your own function. Yes, you should do it then, right? If you're doing it to get rich because you missed out on a Bitcoin boom and you're just trying to get the next boom again, they're probably going to lock you up, right? And like you
What?
see, right? Because it's now fraud to an extent, right? Because you're starting to make value out of where's VAT? Where's value actually? Where's the tax? How are you gonna sooner or later it's going to have to come into effect, right? So we have to start to be thinking about that long-term perspective. Now, this adds to the second question of what you allude to exchange. For the exchange, you're now allowing people to trade these currency that people are making and potentially um, exploiting vulnerable people who are not intelligent investors, right?
Ooh.
So who's gonna police that from a government perspective, right? It's gonna be the FCA for the UK or SEC in America. Are the SCA gonna allow any company just to start a forex of crypto where people are highly interested in this asset, right? And will probably lose majority of their money because it's factual that most of these coins that you're investing with are not going to have the sustainability that people believe they're going to have unless they're Bitcoin, right?
So it's not going to keep going up.
So it doesn't make sense to allow these people to have this opportunity. And this is only I was the most stringent person, probably allude to when it comes to the FCA. We did everything by the book, right? We we um we basically bootstrapped our environment, our own investment. We didn't trade. We waited. We listened to the FCA. We was in a hole for about 2 years waiting for these FCA. We spent money on actual compliance officers to do the compliance. We had KYC, everything correct. Our exchange was running and tested. We were spending over £2,000-3,000 just on hosting for AWS without even any customers, just to prove the facts of the KYCs and these interactions for the application that the FCA to approve. Right? But the problem is the UK has no appetite for crypto at the period of time. So it doesn't matter how good your product is, if there's no appetite from a governance perspective, there's no point. Hence why people were going offshore to Gibraltar and all these foreign places and doing it off there. You can never bring that here. You can't advertise to the UK. There's all advertising rules, and then next thing you know, you
Mhm.
have to be anonymous and do it off on some next website, on some next name, and it just becomes messy, right? So we decided it's not the time for the UK because I could start a cryptocurrency in any country and do it in any way, but I can't manage it legally because we're going to have a person in that country as the own, you're going to have taxes in another. You have to do things somewhat correctly if you want it to be like a
So
Binance
you
or
need
a
partners in
Coinbase.
a different country for that kind of thing.
Exactly. You need the connections. Yeah. Well, the UK is just not, there's no appetite in the UK, or there wasn't any appetite. It may change, and maybe it's changed. I haven't checked in the last 6 months. Our point was to pause for a section and then come back when there was appetite. We have the skill set. We can build exchanges. My approach and my view on crypto is slightly different now anyway, right? So everything happens for a reason. And at that time, um, you have to learn how to pivot. That's the most important thing. Is when you find an obstacle, right?
Mm.
You can either give up, right, or you can pivot. That's your options. Yeah, is it? Because for me, failure is not an option, so I can only pivot, right? So we
Yeah.
respectfully withdrew our application from the FCA, and then we pivoted our whole ethos. Now we can host as many exchanges as anybody would like. We are now bigger than cryptocurrencies because we are
Oh,
data server level. Yeah, we have
okay.
data centers and environments, and we're more like an AWS. Where I was paying money to AWS to host, you would have to now pay us to host your environment.
Mm.
Makes sense.
It's so.
So it's
It's so.
it's pivoting a little bit, and we will come back to it because that will just be an application that sits underneath one
Oh,
of
okay.
us. When
Okay.
there's when So it's now a small baby to us. Well, we stepped
Okay.
above it.
Great.
Yeah, does
Yeah.
that make sense?
It sounded like you also had maybe ethical reasonings around the fact that you said that anybody could invest in crypto and lose their money. Was that a concern for you that people might use your platform and just lose money?
I'm gonna let Bobby answer those ones there, right? So let because Bobby has probably a bit of viewpoint on it on that perspective. But from our ask Bobby this question, your viewpoint on the chances of losing, how much people have lost, and the possibility of winning overall in the space of crypto, not just on the top 10, but in the space of from the cold callers, from all this type of stuff, from the uneducated investors. What's your view on investments and that question?
The thing about with cryptocurrencies, it's still the wild west right now. As you go into, and if something looks attractive to you, and you don't know how it works and what it does, but you get told that this is going to be the next big thing, you can easily get pulled in and put £1,000 in, £100 in, and you put it in and buy tomorrow or a week, your money could be gone because you don't exactly know what you're actually investing into or putting your money into, and how the blockchain and how the the the, the functionality works with being on the exchange or running a cryptocurrency or a crypto itself. And there's a saying in crypto: always put in what you can afford to lose, and that is a big saying that people should always think about. Now, it's slightly different, in my opinion, with Bitcoin. If you're talking about Bitcoin itself, you could be sound to say that yes, you could put in your money in to lose as well, just in case it goes to zero, which I don't think it's going to go to zero. But Bitcoin is not run by anybody. It's not owned by anybody. Nobody knows who the people are or the person that set it up. Whereby these other cryptocurrencies that are out there are actually, there's an owner, there's a CEO, there's somebody that can change the coding. They give you the rules of how we're going to work this cryptocurrency today, but then because there's no real regulation that's built around it, they can change those rules around it tomorrow. And
Yeah,
if you haven't now kept up to speed with those rules, you can end up losing all of those cryptos, all of your money in an instant. So
yeah,
for
yeah.
me, I've been a part of some cryptocurrency scams that have happened to me where I've put my money in and I've lost. And I've been a
Mm.
part of some when I put my money in and I've won. And like I said, at the end of the day, you have to have a good use case. And there's a couple of good cryptocurrencies out there that have, at this present moment, very good use cases. There's one called Akash, where it's got to do with cloud computing. And if you want decentralized cloud computing, you get the Akash token, and you would put that within your wallet and use their blockchain to get a decentralized cloud computing from somebody who you would never know, but because they've got the capabilities of a CPU, memory, and RAM, you can rent and hire those capabilities for whatever system or VPS or anything that you want to use within the decentralized internet. So you use that token to rent. You pay them with that token for
Mm.
their functionality of their infrastructure. So that is a good use case.
Mm.
Another good use case I could give you is Handshake. If you want to buy a decentralized domain name, such as you've got .com, .co.uk, you can have .black economics, and if you own Black Dot Economics, you can buy that on a Victory auction with their token. And once you've won that on a Victory auction with their token, you own it, and then you can rent to me Bobby.Black Economics, which I will pay you in
Mm.
that token, but every year I would pay you in that token. So again,
Yeah, yeah.
that's the good use case. So there are
And I
Yeah.
some
let
good.
and I want to add to this point what you just probably just alluded to. He alluded to two things, yeah. He alluded to handshake, right? Bobby, are you there? You frozen.
Yeah,
Stay there. You alluded to handshake and you alluded to a cache, right? So a cache is infrastructure, yeah, physical kit, yeah, servers, hosting,
Yeah.
and handshake is domains. Domains being anything you go onto on the internet. DNS, yeah, the
Yeah.
opposite
Yeah.
of DNS. So DNS is domain name resolution and domain name services. So Google has an IP and it linked. You know, to Google, you go to the IP, right? Handshake does the exact same thing on the blockchain. You go to this, what's the name? And it takes the blockchain, it knows that this is where the location of your stuff is, right? Same thing, blockchain, right? Now, I'm going to give you the power of Agile Tech. Agile Tech is a provider for a cache. We're on the top page. We're one of the number one providers. So because we have kit, we can rent our kit and be paid in a cache. So people pay us and we accumulate a cache just for us having kit. Just because we've got servers and people want to use our stuff, right? They pay us in a cache. Now, on the handshake aspects, again, we have kit. We can host nodes. We host half of the entire system. Let that sink in for you. So
Really?
so that means if we decided to turn off, that means half of the world will no longer have. That's how powerful our infrastructure is in the aspect. We own half of the entire sphere of what holds the blockchain. So if they have 100 nodes, we own 50 of them, right? And that's when I'm saying pivoting and then using your skill sets to leverage, right? And then using the technology around. Reason why I don't, and Bobby will tell you this, and you can keep me honest. I would never advise people on what crypto to buy. Right? I would never advise people on what never, right?
Mm.
Because this is the problem, right? Is there's no intelligent educators in the system because they can't be because there's no governance, there's no structure, right? So
Mm.
anything goes. You need to do your own research. You have to understand the technology and you because it's the same principle of you going to put the injection into your a COVID vaccination in your arm, right? There's if something goes wrong, there's nowhere for you to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you should do your own research. If you choose to put that into you, it may help you, but it may not help you. Where are you gonna go and get the understanding to what's going on? Nobody knows because nobody knows what's in it. Nobody
Mm.
knows, you know what I mean? And that's the only analogy I can really give. Like investing in crypto is like going and getting an injection. It might save you, but more than likely down the line it's gonna hurt you.
Well, crypto has been around for a number of years now, so you would have thought that the SEC or the FCA or Europe would have come up with regulation by now.
It's
there's
coming.
types of regulations. So there is types of regulations that they put in front of the exchanges that are in the normal public eye that anybody can go to. So you have to do your due diligence, your KYC and your AML, your anti-money laundering, and you have to make sure how your advertising is the right way and what cryptocurrencies you are advertising. And then if a specific cryptocurrency comes out, has that exchange done the right due diligence on that company and the people's involved, and had a look at their tokenomics, had a look at their supply of how much they've got, and how much is left to be brought out into the public, and who owns those particular cryptos, and who runs those blockchains. So there is, and it's all up to the people that want to, buy those cryptocurrencies. Are they
Okay,
going
watch
to the
this.
likes of Coinbases and the right exchanges to
Bobby,
buy those cryptos?
Or
how many
Binance.
how many cryptos is there in existence?
There's got to be, I don't know, 15, 20,000, maybe more. Probably. And there's more because, all the ones that are on the decentralized exchanges, which aren't regulated by KYC or AML, there's hundreds of thousands on there that come up in 1 minute and then gone the next minute. And then, those are all on the decentralized exchanges, which a lot of the decentralized exchanges, you wouldn't even know about them.
So people are
And
just creating these things to make money and then disappear then. That's what it sounds like.
exactly. You got meme coins, you got pumps and dumps, and that's what I was alluding to, right? So there's so much to unpack there, right? Blockchain is not a bad thing. That's a complete different conversation, right? Because there's different layers of blockchain. Yeah, you got Bitcoin as a blockchain. You got Ethereum as a blockchain, which is you got Bitcoin, and then you got dApps, yeah, decentralized apps on Ethereum type applications, and then that's basically, and then you got Ripple and the other ledgers and Hyperledger and type stuff. So there's really only like four type blockchains, right? Ethereum type ones is one blockchain. There's on Ethereum, there's so many tokens. It's stupid. It's absolutely ridiculous. So the most of the tokens that people would want to invest in are Ethereum type tokens. Yeah, they're not. But Bitcoin is probably the only one, if I was to advise people to invest in, out of all of them, right?
Okay.
Because it's the only thing that makes sense and sits and standing the test of time, and it's proven, right? And based on the fundamentals, it will always increase in value. It's just set that way. It's impossible to change,
Okay.
right? So
Okay.
from that perspective, long-term investors put it away, come back 20 years from now, you'd be a very happy person. Yeah.
So it sounds to me that you guys have this network of servers then. It sounds like you're almost competing with AWS, with Amazon's server system. So that's very interesting. I would love to ask you where exactly you are housing your servers, your kit, but I won't ask because we don't want anybody to go and look. But well done with that, because it means that you can end up with some really big clients. Well done. Okay, can I come back to the jewelry now, Bobby? Tell me about your jewelry business.
So actually, so I've been in jewelry for, high-end jewelry for the last 20 plus years. I started off as a diamond apprentice. Like I said, I was a diamond setter by trade. And when I got made redundant because, things moved to the Far East, I worked at a couple of smaller independent jewelers, local jewelers, and I also then left there and worked. I used to be one of the supervisors and assistant managers of goldsmiths under the Canary Wharf Tower. They used to have a goldsmiths underneath there. I don't think it's there
Oh,
anymore.
really?
Yeah, and then I left there to move on to Watches of Switzerland, which was on the Royal Exchange, right opposite the Bank of England. So I was dealing with a variety of clients.
Were you doing anything like Hatton Garden?
Well, when you're in the jewelry industry, that is known as the jewelry district. Apart from you go to Bond Street and you see the likes of Graff and Tiffany and those different sort of stores that are there, which are a different high end of echelon stores. Hatton Garden is the jewelry quarter of London, which you've also got in Birmingham. You've got the jewelry quarter in Birmingham and one in Sheffield also. So if you was to be in those different parts of the country, you would if you wanted to buy something and not go to one of those branded shops, you would potentially go to one of the jewelry quarters of where you are within the country. So Hatton Gardens, I know a lot of people in Hatton Gardens and a lot of friends, and I've had probably about 6 apprentices, who I trained to become
Oh,
jewelers.
wow.
I trained one to become a diamond setter, one to become a model maker and to do handmade jewelry, one to be a salesman, a different variety, and they all have their own jewelry companies now. So I've mentored them through those companies over the last 5 to 10 years, and they all have thriving businesses, which some of them are in Hatton Garden, and I actually still get some of them to make some of my jewelry that I give customers, because I only deal with bespoke jewelry. I don't hold or carry any stock. If somebody wants something, it's a one-off item that is made straight from the workshop and designed by me and the client. And sometimes we get some things made by CAD or Matrix, which are done by some really good jewelry architects. From once we give them the details and the recommendations and descriptions, and we get some really good renders that we can show the clients, and then once we have that, we get that made up into the actual metal, whether it be platinum, gold, and with diamonds in it, and then it goes straight to the client. So it's a one-off piece. All my jewelry that I've done over the last since 2005 have just been all one-off items. I think probably one of the most craziest items I've done was for a professional footballer, a well-known professional footballer, but he was a DJ also, and he wanted to have a silver hand on where he does his DJing, and we had to create a silver hand to go over his hand as he
Oh.
liked to DJ with the decks, and he was like scratching and mixing and stuff. So that was a really exciting piece to make because it had to
So
be
if
really
anybody
precise.
wants to order any jewelry from you, what sort of budget are we looking at? What's your minimum that you wouldn't even bother looking below that?
I don't really like to talk about those sorts of things, to be honest with you, because there's I don't discriminate with anybody, but if you think about, we don't have anything off the shelf. If someone was to say to me, "Oh, Bobby, I want a ring," and I haven't got it, I don't have them. I have to work with a budget. So, there might be somebody that only has £100 to get a little pendant for their kid or something or whatever. And
So you send them to a
if
shop,
I
yeah?
can if I can supply that for them, they have. It's hard to get to me. You can't contact me on the internet or on the phone,
Let,
or
let,
you
let
can't
me add some
contact me.
let me add
Excuse
some
me,
value.
guys. Bobby
Let,
is
let, let,
very exclusive.
let me add some value to that because I feel like he's underplaying a little bit. I don't think he's getting any like he's not giving himself any flowers. Do you know how many football people and he's traveled the world? He's made rings for the biggest people, the biggest. He showed me one watch thing, yeah, that was diamond encrusted. Yeah, what was it? Was Casio thing. You got the link like.
The
Trust
G
me,
Shock, the G
the
Shock.
G Shock for the company, all that like crazy stuff that were
I had a
mind pieces,
collaboration with Casio. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, mind boggling stuff. So I think like to get to him, you
It
need
has
to
to
be at a
come through
level.
recommendation. It just comes
It's
through
that kind of stuff.
recommendation. Yeah,
Oh,
you
But no,
can't.
right.
but it's not saying like because it doesn't make sense owning a store and having stock for those kind of things, does it? Because it's really custom pieces, right? But
Yeah, yeah,
obviously
yeah.
he's got connections. So if you know him and you can line it up, he will line it up. But if you want something special, one of a kind that nobody has, he's the guy that you would probably want to know to, right? It's like
Okay.
an actress wants to go on a runway and she wants to wear her red dress. You don't want no one to have it. So when you have that ring just special for that special piece, you're probably gonna want something that nobody has. Or instead of having
Mm.
a Tiffany that's 10,000, there's 10,000 of them, or a Cartier bracelet that's let's say industry one. Some people like to be unique. So you need those people who have that skill set. Then
Yeah,
that's what I would say.
yeah. So that means, Bobby, you don't have a catalog then that you send out, no?
Uh, no, it's
Or
not.
website?
It's not like that at all. It's not like
Mm.
that at all. It's
This is
more than
exclusive
likely
stuff.
my clients have come through to me because somebody has introduced them to me because they've got a piece from me and someone has seen it and said, "Where did you get that from?" And I said it was my personal jeweler, and and I will go and do the consultation and meet them, and you have to come through recommendation. And so a lot of my clients will know that you can't necessarily ask for a discount because I don't know what discount you're asking for, because you should have a budget of what you want to spend on making that piece. So we
Mm.
can make it to that recommendation of that piece, whether or not you might want to overexert yourself a little bit by saying, I want something that's all bells and whistles, but I've only got hypothetically £1,000, and you could say, look, you can't get platinum, you can't get diamonds, you might have to go white gold and go lab diamonds or something like that or whatever, and we can be flexible. We are flexible with. I don't want to discard anybody. I will always try my best with people, but you can only get through to me if you've come through a recommendation.
Okay,
Or you
okay.
can talk to the AI if you want. He's got his own AI, so he can give you the AI number.
Yeah, okay. So tell me a little bit about some of the features of your own AI, because apparently you have set up one called Lionx. Tell me, what can we do with Lionx? And tell me about this call system with AI that you've also now developed.
So what was quite interesting, Dawn, I remember you had a gentleman on your YouTube channel and your podcast and stuff called Chris Ogunsalin, and he demonstrated Lionx for you, which is our platform. We are good friends of Chris. I think he introduced us to you those few years ago when we was talking, and So Lionx is a suite of tools that are really special from the AI industry. There's a variety of tools that are on there, and people should really go out and check out, Lionx if you are in the AI world or you want to save time. Lionx.ai, that is the website. Go and check it out. Myself and Nicholas are founders of that website and company. I think I wouldn't do it the best justice because Nicholas is an AI genius. Although I'm getting there and I'm very good at doing things on AI, and it saves me so much time every day. I use Linux every day for creating emails, creating posts, creating things for my LinkedIn, whether or not it's just to reply to somebody or to create a short video. A lot of faceless videos I make with Lionx using the voice activation stuff, your voice cloning, you've got images, you've got if I don't want to know about if I don't want to watch a YouTube video, for example, I can just put the link of the YouTube in Lionx and it will give me the summary of what that video was about very quickly, and it will give it to me either in a blog or in the pros and cons, or it will give a list of description. There's 20
Yeah,
of
it's
different
amazing.
tools. There's
Yeah.
20 different tools on there. But Nick, you can maybe want to give a description of Linux for yourself.
Yeah. So Lionx for me is called the revolution is here, right? And my aim, everyone's scared of AI. Right? Everyone believes AI, some people are scared of AI, is going to take over the world, it's going to be Terminator. And to that extent, it's probably going to happen sooner or later, more than likely, with the way things are going. I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'll be honest. But where we're at right now,
Well, you're not
um,
setting our heart at rest then, are you?
I'll be honest, it's probably sooner or later, something like that. Maybe it's 100 years, 50 years, 10 years, 2 years, who knows?
Oh, we won't be here then.
No, but I'm joking. No, but the point of for me, what AI is here, what we try to do in businesses and companies is give you back time, right? Allow the computer to do things that are repetitive tasks or things that people don't want to do, right? So, for instance, at work, you might spend 4 hours a day answering phone calls, right? What if I can take that away from you and then uptrain you and have you do something else? You save 4 hours, yeah? So that's the perspective of what AI is trying to do. So there's a lot of different takes on that, whether it's ChatGPT, whether it's 11 Lab, whether it's the something with visual or voice cloning. There's multiple different AI tools, right? And it's very confusing, right? Is for instance ChatGPT, right? Or OpenAI. You go in there and it's powerful, but you need to know how to program it. You need to give it the right prompts to get the right
Exactly. Exactly.
output that you like. And that's another skill set in itself. How do you ask it? How do you give it the right prompting to do what you want it to do? Right. So that's where, for me, OpenAI, we was using OpenAI. I was using OpenAI before ChatGPT. So we was always understanding how to use it with code. Now, can we make it easier, like an iPhone? And that's the aim, right? Not many people like Android. Most people like iPhones. You just want to click and do, click and do, click and do, and that's what Lionx was trying to do, right? Is pre-prompts. You need a prompt to write hashtags for you. Just give me this, and it does it for you. You want to talk to a chatbot around health. Go to the one that says health and talk to it. You don't need to prompt, I am a health expert. You just click on health and does that. So we try to simplify every single AI tool into one
Okay.
box for an Apple user, right? A
Mhm.
simple user. It's all about user experience, right? So whether you need to do a voice clone and then you want to be able to now write a book with it in your voice, you use the voice clone and then you can voice clone to speak text or get an MP3 with you speak and stick it in the system. Now it's gonna understand your voice. And then you use Lionx to write you whatever paragraph you want to do, and then you stick it in the voice and the text to voice, and the next thing you know, you've got it speaking just like how you are. Right? So within three different steps, you're using one tool to get the benefit. Now, I would ask you, how much time did you save there? By using those tools, how much times did you save, right? And by using the power of ChatGPT or OpenAI or any of these LLMs, you're using the brain of going to do the investigation and then the platform to put it in a template for you to easily translate what you want it to do, right?
Mm.
And that's what Lionx is basically, is using these suite of tools that we have access, that we have the technical understanding to use, right? And then using that and giving back to make it easier for the users to consume. And that's why the revolution is here for Lionx. And the aim and even the dashboard is always about how much time have you saved. So if you
Ah.
go and you write a post, it's going to do the investigation. It's going to ask you what you want to talk about, what's the tone,
Mm.
what's the voice, all the stuff that you want, we've taken into account. So you will get something very custom to you, right? Say for instance, you want an image for your post on Instagram, right? Every image you generate will always be unique. You can't make the same image twice.
Mm.
So it becomes very unique to how you've chose to change the parameters, and the possibilities are endless, right? From the wording, from the lighting, from the tone of voice, that all these characteristics have a massive impact on how the AI algorithm will go and give something to you unique, right? So this is how we just allowed it to be a little bit more time saving in one platform. That's my
So,
answer
do
for that.
you offer training to companies? Like if
So
someone wants you to come in and train their company for half a day or a day?
so from a consultation perspective, we do consult with companies and businesses from a B2B perspective, because like we have a very diverse offering from our tech stack, right? So whether you're in a business who needs to be transformed from a security perspective, or you want to do a migration of your emails into Office 365, or you want to transform how your marketing department works. It really just depends on what that business wants. So it's more for, we have that consultation function where we consult, because it's unique for every different businesses. But because we have the fundamental infrastructure and team, it's very easy and flexible for us to offer a massive scope of what
Okay.
we offer, if that makes sense.
So I wondered if you were passing on this information to young people who, could end up being little Nicholases, basically coming up as tech geniuses. You could be producing 10 of them every month.
I
Well, it's
think
interesting you
I think
say that because Nick, let me actually go on to that. It's quite interesting. We just done a massive project with the West, was it City University?
Mhm.
We was involved in their industries project awards and training exercise for some of their postgraduates and their, I can't remember, was it their, is it their postgrads, Nick? And
Yeah,
and you know
it
they
was their last for the degree, right? It was
yeah,
the
for
final
their
year.
degree, their postgrad, and we had 16 students from City University, which is really, they're a huge university, and they were basing. We had a few different projects that we gave them to choose from that they could implement and utilize for their university courses, and we helped them along the way to learn about AI technology. We helped them along the way to learn about infrastructure and our business that we're running, especially around the infrastructure of Agile Tech Solutions, around hosting, around VPSs. We gave them instructions around how to build a VPS. We gave them stuff around VPNs, how to use VPNs. So, from a point of training younger people and the younger generation, we're definitely, at the forefront of trying to do those things. And it goes
Yeah,
back to what
that's
I've done in
brilliant.
the jewelry industry when I had my apprentices. It was
Yeah,
important to me that I gave back, and my apprentices have had apprentices already. So we're going to be, we're coming up to our 2.5, 2 years, over 2 years now. So we're going to be looking at more and more integration of helping young people and the younger community around things around our infrastructure, knowing that how things are possible. I do a lot of mentoring already within different schools and colleges, and go and do many talks already about entrepreneurship. So we are building training programs and training infrastructure. We've got a course website that we've also got up and running, and you can go on our website and Agile Tech Solutions / courses, and you can see some of the courses that
Oh,
we've put on
brilliant.
there
Wow.
around many different facets as well, which we're adding to it. It's almost like a Udemy type thing where you can
Oh,
add to it.
really?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So we're builders, and we're trying to be builders and real pioneers within the industry. And we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here, because we're not trying to do anything that anybody hasn't done, but we're trying to do it and do it better and do it for the people in our community. And that's one of the most important things that we're really trying to get across here. And some of the consultations that me and Nicholas have been on with those startups or those young businesses, we're really trying to help them grow and scale with them. And if you look at what we've got as a suite of tools in our arsenal, we would be here for about another 2 hours to go through all the suite of tools in our arsenal that we can actually support, give real support, real life support to
Mm.
everybody in our community. But Nick, sorry, I don't know if you're going to say something about
That's
that.
fantastic, guys. Thank you for what you're
Okay.
doing. Thank you for what you have built and are building. Thank you for passing the knowledge on to other young people. And I would say people of all ages need this information, to be honest. So the fact that you're building courses and everything is just amazing. That's brilliant. So we'll put some links at the bottom of the video. Is there anything else that you feel that you want to tell the viewers? Anything else you want to cover?
No, no, just to add to that question there, what Bobby was saying is you can give back at any time. And I think people have this ego, like they need to be seen, they need to be seen to be doing things, right? But for us, we really try to be righteous, right? We want to be able to really support. So it's not about being there and having your picture in magazines and being famous. It's about really supporting the community, actually. And we can only do that if our services are functioning, are sustainable, right? And
Mm.
that's where we've been trying to build our foundation. Make sure your foundation is solid. Let's get that
Mm.
foundation solid. And the 2 years I mean, I sleep very little. We've been up sometimes 24 hours, literally scratching our head to get
Really?
some of these applications up and stuff. We have a phrase, an hour is a day for us. An hour is a day, and we have to function within that. What you would do in a day, you need to do in an hour. Now, whether you are like my thing's about saving time, so whether it would take you a little while to do research, why are you not using the tools that you have to make it easier for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
you
think
should be
I
able to
think
punch that time.
this is also because you work with a corporate entity, don't you? So that means that your time that you use for building these apps is separate to that. So this is why you're probably working 24 hours sometimes. Is that right?
Mm, I would, I just don't like people wasting time. It doesn't matter. No,
So
for
what? Going
instance,
to sleep is wasting time?
yes. So let's look at that. Let's look at that. Let's look at that. For instance, if you sleep 12 hours a day, hypothetically, you're sleeping half of your life. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. If you sleep 12 hours a day, you slept half your life. You're 60, you slept for 30 years. So do the math. If you're sleeping 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, or 10 hours a day, how many years of your life are you choosing to sleep? And we complain that we don't have enough time. You do have enough time. You just choose to sleep. That's the difference. When you're young, you got all the time in the world. Use your time when you can. Instead, you would rather go and rave to 4 o'clock in the morning. Why are you not staying up to 4 o'clock in the morning coding? You can go and rave 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and then go to work the next day. So why are you sleeping? Stop sleeping and get action. Right. And that's the point. This is why people it's the people, right? You can make your own time. We can sacrifice a couple hours, drink a coffee, have a Red Bull, your body will recover. It's very
Mm,
simple. On
mm,
Sundays, get 8 hours of sleep. That's why you got Sunday rest day. Sleep on that day, right? But Monday to Saturday, you work. You
Hmm.
sleep. That's it. Right? If you work a day job, you do your day job, you finish at 5 o'clock, you got a whole many hours. You got from five, you got a whole 12 hours there that you can get in. Yeah, you don't need to sleep. 12 hours there. Get a nap, 2, 3 hours. If you have something that you're trying to do, though, right? If you have an action, if you have a dream, if you're trying to build a business, you got to sacrifice something. And the best thing to sacrifice is your sleep because you're sleeping. What are you doing when you're sleeping? Literally, what are you doing? You're resting. Get away from the rest and do something. That's my point. This is why
There,
hours a day for me.
there's something, Dawn, where it says a man said to me, it was the man actually I worked with at Watch of Switzerland. He was one of the best managers I ever had, and he said the things you do in the dark dictate the way you lead your life. And sometimes if just working that little bit in the dark, where God done everything in the dark. When he made the earth, he didn't make the earth and the stuff during the day. He made it at night and he rested in the day, and it's the opposite. We can look at things biblically if you want or whatever else, and or whatever, but that's for all our Christian viewers and whatever else. But let me tell you something, Dawn, the success will go down to how hard you work sometimes and how hard you want something. And for me to talk about how businesses that might fail, businesses that might be successful. I've had a really great successful business within the jewelry industry, but while I was building that jewelry industry business, there was a lot of times I didn't sleep because I wanted to learn about the new trends, or I had to go and visit a client somewhere late, or things that I just needed to do and learn and know. And it's the same with what's going on with myself and Nicholas's business with Agile Tech Solutions and Lionx and some of our AI capabilities, and we've got fantastic products, Dawn, but they're not just gonna be created if you're not constantly working on them, testing them, and building them, and having the infrastructure that we've got. I personally don't know. Me personally, I don't know anybody that's got the infrastructure we've got in having servers in your own UK data center in the UK that can serve over hundreds and thousands of websites, applications, and capabilities of doing many different things. I don't know anybody personally. I've heard of people that say, we've got a data center here or there, but I have, and we've got servers that can. We've got some of the top technology, and we've got some of the top security, and some of the top things that we do within the UK, and it's needed. Google. I'll just finish on this thing. Google are building a data center. I think in Enfield, and it's costing £1 billion pounds to build. So if you just look at that alone, that's going to tell you something, and it's going to take a couple of years for that to be built. These American companies don't have many data centers in the UK, and they need to come over to the UK because the UK shouldn't be sending over information from one data center from America to come back to the UK, and your traffic shouldn't be leaving the UK. Really, you should
Yeah,
hold
yeah.
and host your information in the UK. So if you are dealing with a hosting company that doesn't have that capabilities, you're gonna you might not get the business that you want to get. You might not get governmental contracts or anything like that. So if you do have a company and you are out there and you want to get some big contracts and you need good hosting, come to Agile Tech Solutions.
Okay, okay. And the website is agiletechsolutions.co.uk.
Correct.
And there's
Absolutely.
just one more thing. There's another link I want you guys to go on. I want you guys to go on to Smart URL. Yeah? smarturl.co.uk. And if you want /Agile Tech, all of our services will be there. Every application that we have. So Smart URLs is ours as well. It's basically like a link tree. So we have our own link tree. And
Yeah.
on there, you have your own bio pages. If you go on our bio page for smart URL /Agile Tech, it will show you Linux, Syncing Mark, our course platforms. Every single thing that we do goes on that page. So you will see the suite of tools. VPN, we have our own VPN app on the iOS store and on Android. So you can go on your phone and download your own VPN,
Mm.
VPS. The list goes on. So if you want to know more,
Yeah.
definitely check it out.
There's one other thing I wanted to ask actually. Are you guys doing anything in the gaming space?
Actually, no. That's one space that we're not really in. We don't make games. We're not really in that space. It's a different world from the world we're in. I don't think we
But
will enter
anybody
it.
who is can host on your servers anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah,
More
absolutely.
above the gaming. Yeah, exactly. We host game servers. Yeah, so that you
You
can host
do.
anything in the world, but we
Yeah.
wouldn't. We build
Okay.
applications and apps, but it's not necessarily in the gaming world, like building a
Okay.
PlayStation game or something like that.
Okay. All right. Well, I think at some point in the future, Nicholas, we would love to see your setup with your 6+ screens and all. Just watch you at work for half an hour or so. Just want to open up that brain and see how it works. And yeah, it's good that you two are working together, coming up with ideas and actually building whatever. That's a powerful thing about being able to code and being able to understand the new technology. So you don't just dream about it, you actually come up with the idea and you make it. If you got to stay up all night and make it. And that's just
Don't
brilliant.
say that, Dawn, please, because you're going to get off the phone and Nick's going to be building another one of the talk. Please, because
Uh,
we think it, we build it, and it's big. And do you know why that's so good for us? Is because we've got the infrastructure to do it, and that's
Yes.
the beauty. We have the infrastructure, and that's why we want to help others, because we actually have the infrastructure to help others build and host. So yeah.
and
Okay.
I will land on this one last thing. The way we do a lot of these applications that we have is, like Bobby said, we have the infrastructure, but it was always based on services that we needed or required, right? So
Yeah.
say for instance, we wanted to use something like Hootsuite, yeah? Hootsuite, most people will know Hootsuite is allows you to post on multiple social platforms and stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we went on there and looking at the cost, and it was like £59 a month or something like that for 3 sites. And then we realized we could actually, for that price in about a month or two, build our entire Hootsuite
Hmm.
because we can host the stuff that we need and required, and we have the skill sets to do the same functions that it is. It's just the skin and functions, right?
Hmm.
So now that we decided not to pay that, we built our own one. Now we have our own one called Syncing Me Up, which is SaaS, allowing people to do the exact same thing as Hootsuite and more because we've implemented AI. So the AI does a lot of the posting now, and it's what, a quarter of the price. So what we did, it was literally we would find solutions that we need, and we'd be like, okay, we need this solution. So everyone else will probably need this solution. Let's make our own one, do it better, and cut the price. All right. And then how it kind of worked is most of them end up ROIing in like 3 months. So it's able to make the because there's no cost after that, right? Because we don't have a hosting cost, do we? Because
Hmm.
we don't have to pay AWS. Yeah, for you to host things me up, it might cost you £500 a month for AWS.
Hmm.
We don't
Hmm.
have to pay that because we've got our own data center, right? So the big cost is the hosting, right? The second cost is the building, right? The developers. Oh, I'm the developer. I got developers. We got developers. So the two biggest costs, right? We throw out the window. There is no cost. Then it's all
Hmm.
gone. And this is how we was able to develop multiple application. Now we're using that practice and also consulting. So where we're at now, our last one, where we're at to, where we've just amalgamated everything into one, is VA services, virtual assistances, very, very intelligent virtual assistances, which can replace workforces from anything from inbounds or outbounds, right? And have a have a voice, right? Can sound like you. So how it is when you call my phone, if I don't answer, it goes to my AI and you'll get me. It sounds like me. And Bobby will tell you it's actually picked up. Majority of all my cold calls are done by my AI now, who called me cold call. And I can send this 15-minute, 20-minute conversations where the agent is talking to my AI, thinking it's me, having no clue, right? Because you don't know what I sound like, right? And
Hmm.
you're just calling a person. It does all of the conversation, and it would even. And this is one guy. He's called about 3, 4 times. I've never spoke to this guy. This guy seems to think he's got a conversation relationship with me now because you know what I mean. He's talking to Nick, but it gets rid of the spam. So I choose that who I answer the phone. If I and nobody else will know. So if I don't answer, it automatically goes to my AI and it will answer that. So you would think it's me, right? Or you will leave a message and then it will answer you the information. So
We're
that's
gonna
where
have
we're
to
at
give some
now.
demos. We're gonna have to give
Yeah,
some demos.
we there need to be a demo day, but what our plan is now is to be consulting for businesses. So um, I'll let Bobby land on this one. The use cases is a lot. So I'll just get Bobby to give a few or four use cases of who we're looking and talking and consulting with now. But when you understand the technology, and this adds on everything, right? From Lionx to my coding skills, to our infrastructures, to everything, to OpenAI's development in this in NLP and AI, to where we're getting to now, we are always at the pinnacle from all of our NVMe drives. We're always at the pinnacle of technology. We try to be at the edge of technology. And where we're at now is at a very advanced. So maybe I'll let Bobby give some use cases and
You know
that's
what?
it.
I would give some use cases and some. I'm conscious of the time, and I know we probably got to get off, but there's healthcare use cases, there's customer service use cases, and that's inbound and outbound, and there's customer support use cases that if you do have a support mechanism that you need to take care of, and you are a real estate owner or you rent out properties, and you have people renting in your place, and you wanna rent your place out, and you might need a contract. We can create these contracts for you with AI technology, or if people have problems with their plumbing and they renting in your property and you're abroad or you're away or whatever, we can get the AI to step in and be that function that they can call your AI assistant, and they can then put you on hold, for an example, and then call a plumber for you, get the plumber to come round to your house, book the appointments in, you get the emails, everyone gets the emails, and your AI assistant's done that for you. And these are real life projects that we've done and we are creating to save people and give them their time back. Because if you are a portfolio property holder, you've got more than 10 plus properties, and things do go wrong, and you are away, who's going to do it for you? It might cost you quite a bit to get maybe a human to do it for you or whatever else, but you can now get AI technology and our technology that we are building to help you. So if you want to know more about that, do contact
Book a
us.
call. Yeah, I want you to book a call, guys. Yeah, so there's the link below, because it's going to be in there. The link is right down there. This link right here. See there? It just popped up on
In
the
the
screen right
description.
here. Yeah, I want you to click that link. I want you to fill out your name, your last name, your first name, your emails, and your number. You're gonna get a call from the AI. Yeah, booking a meeting with us. Let's talk about AI. Let's talk
Yeah,
about
yeah.
consult. Yeah, it's right there.
I must say that Nicholas sent me the link the other day to test, and I just happened to test it at 6 o'clock in the morning. As soon as I pressed submit, a phone call came through straight away. Nicholas's voice at 6 in the morning, and he was talking like it was him. So he's obviously trained his voice,
Mm.
and it would ask a question and allow me time to answer, and then it would say, "Give me some more details," and then it allowed me to talk, and then it said, "Okay, we'll be in touch with you shortly," or if you want to make an appointment, here's a link where you can make the appointment. And there you go. You were probably there sleeping in your bed, or probably not sleeping. You were probably coding, as you like to say. So yeah, it really does work. Fascinating. Well done, guys.
Thank you, thank you, and it's been a
Yeah.
pleasure to finally be on your YouTube channel with Black Economics. We've been working together for a good couple of years. I think, Dawn, to be honest, I believe you was on version 1 of
One.
Agile Tech Solutions. You
It
were
was.
one of the first people to actually believe in us and
Hmm.
use our
Oh.
services, and I really do appreciate that, and I appreciate you because you have brought us clients, and you continue to use our platforms and our services, and it's a credit to you, and I really do appreciate that. And you have been through some teething processes with us on our journey, and I'm sure I've always told you you can utilize our products, and we give you a lot of things first before anybody else sees them, and keep that confidentiality that we've got, because you do use a lot of our tools first, and and you was on version 1, version 2, and now we're on version 3, which is a beast of a monster. And I really do appreciate everything that you've done for us and putting us on your show. You've been patient with us by waiting for us to come on here. We're two very shy people, but you
Oh,
finally managed to get us over the line and on your show.
you guys are funny. Oh, shy. Right. Yeah. I'm glad that you're coming out. That's how it seemed like to me. Because I remember when I first met you and we spoke online. 'Cause it was just around the time that we were coming out of the pandemic. I was blown away by you two. Seriously, I was really blown away by your knowledge, by your tech genius. Honestly, your expertise. And yeah, I asked you then about doing an interview. You're like, no, no, no. We like to do our things undercover.
We're ready
So,
now, Dawn. Our products that we've got are ready, and people should
okay.
contact us about our products right there. And it's not just about using our products. If somebody wants a product, we can develop it for them, and that's
Okay, that's true. Yeah.
that's the part that we enjoy. We enjoy that a lot. We do enjoy that.
And if you've
Okay.
got issues in your business, you've got security problems, come talk to us. We'll sort that for you.
Absolutely.
We'll
Says
sort
the
that for you.
ethical hacker.
Come ethically hacky. Don't worry, in an ethical way.
Ah, well done, guys. Well done. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. And I hope that people who watch will have learned something. And yeah, I'm sure that people will want to talk to you further. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Dawn.
you.
Thank
Thank you
Appreciate
you.
it.
very
Take
much.
care.
Have a
Bye.
good one.
Bye.
Bye bye
Bye.
bye.
The revolution is here. Lionx.ai services. AI chat, your questions and our AI assistant's answers. Write blog post in a single click. Create AI images, free trial. In an era where technology is rapidly evolving, the line between human potential and artificial intelligence becomes increasingly blurred. However, rather than viewing AI as a threat to our capabilities, it's time we embrace it as a tool for enhancement and empowerment.